Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to Anuj Jindal. Welcome to RBI 247 session. Tell me is everything is fine with the audio and the video so that we can start with the session. Till then, good evening everyone. Good evening Abhishek. Good evening Sapphire, Siddhant. Good evening Swastika. Good evening Siddhant. Okay. Okay, thank you Afsana. Thank you Abhishek. Okay, let's begin with our session. Okay. Hello everyone. Okay. So in this session as well, we have again four, we can say topics with us. Okay. So first one is related to the RBI, wherein they have invited and released a framework for the self-regulatory organizations for the account aggregator ecosystem. Okay, we will learn about this. What are the rules as per this framework? What is the eligibility criteria for the SROs and what all are the other guidelines according to this framework? Then RBI won Digital Transformative Award. Again, this is a very factual news, but we will try and understand that why they have given such award to the RBI based on what we can say initiatives. Okay, then we have one factual news with us which says credit disbursement to priority sectors. Okay, so the priority sector lendings by the banks has been increased. Okay, and there has been several reasons behind the same, and what is the data of credit disbursement to these priority sectors, all the such things we are going to discuss in this we can say news. Then lastly we have one more news which is related to MSMEs. Now MSMEs credit, there was a credit gap to MSMEs. That means they were not getting enough credit in order to boost their investment in their businesses. Now, as per this factual data, they says now the gap is being reduced and there is more and more, we can say, credit that is being available to the MSMEs. And we will see how much credit has been available to these MSME over past 4 years. Okay, so this data is going to be very important for you. Let's have an understanding for the first news. So basically RBI has released a framework, or we can say they have invited the applications for the SROs. Now what are SROs? Are self-regulatory organizations. Self-regulatory organizations. Now what these organizations do? They ensure that whatever ecosystem or area they are, or we can say regulating, are complying with the regulation that are being set by the regulator. In this case, regulator is RBI, and they are continuously monitoring. They are continuously monitoring that area, and they also share, we can say, collective voice to the regulator. So whatever problems that are being, we can say, faced by the participant in a particular area, say in a banking area, they will share that problem as a collective voice of these participants to the RBI, so that they can be resolved at a higher level. Okay, so I hope the concept of the self-regulatory organization, that is SRO, is clear to you. Okay, now what RBI has done, that they said that there is a requirement of such organization in this ecosystem as well. Which ecosystem? Account aggregator. Now what is account aggregator? So account aggregators are the entities that take care of our data, data such as financial data, whatever transaction we do, whatever payment we made to the loan, whatever loans we have taken so far, all such data is being kept by these account aggregators. Right now they collect, or we can say they store a very confidential data related to all the customers. Right now they say that there is a need to have a SRO in this account aggregators ecosystem. Okay, now in this ecosystem of this account aggregator, there are three main components. Now what are these three main components? Whenever we talk about this ecosystem, there are three main components, or we can say three main participants in this area. So the first one is NBFC AA. That means NBFCs who are in this account aggregator business. They are the intermediary who are actually storing the all the data related to the customers. Right? First component is this. Then the second component is financial information providers. We can also write them as FIP. Now they are the one who provide you with the such information. They provide you with such information of to NBFCs. So who all are these? These are banks. These are fintech companies. These are NBFCs who all are involved in such kind of information. Okay. Then there is one more last, we can say, component in this ecosystem, which is financial information users. Now these are the one who are actually using such information, such as the lenders. The banks that are giving loans, they are actually, they need such information in order to make a informed decision, in order to make a data driven decision. They're not going to give anybody a loan without having such, we can say, credit score, without having their credit history. Okay, all such information is required by the lender. So they are the actual users. So lenders are there, fintechs are there. So basically these three are the main component of this account aggregator ecosystem. Right? Let's have a look over here what is written here. So it says that recently RBI introduced a self-regulatory organization framework, SROAA framework, to oversee and streamline the account aggregators ecosystem in India. RBI also invited application from the eligible entities. So basically the agenda is to streamline these AA ecosystem. Now what is the problem with this? The problem is that these components are aligned, or we can say are related to different part of the financial system. Suppose these also include insurance companies. These also include mutual fund companies. Now these are being regulated by different regulator. They are being regulated by SEBI. They are also being regulated by IRDAI. So basically there are number of entities that are being involved, or we can say that they are using such information, and that is the reason that we need to streamline such data. Okay, we need to streamline, or we need to smoothen the transition of such information within this ecosystem by one regulator, or we can say by one guideline, so that we can smoothly exchange such data. So why there is a need? There is a need to make a standardized process for various things, like if there is a grievance redressal thing, or a consent management, or a customer protection. SRO will represent an industry voice. So industry voice would be there. There would be one voice that would be representing the whole industry. SRO will ensure compliance and will build user trust in the AA system. Now SRO will ensure that all such intermediaries, all such NBFC who all are participating as a AA are complying with the regulation that are being laid down by the RBI. So with this, a customer will also rely on such data. The banks will also rely on such data, believing that the data is authenticated. Okay. So that will build trust for the users as well. So SRO ensures coordination among the regulators and promoting uniform standards. So we see that the number of organizations and entities are being involved in such ecosystem, and we need to standardize and streamline all such entities in one single guideline. And that is the reason that there is a need to have a SRO in such AA ecosystem. So there are some broad guidelines related to such framework. First one is the application of such SRO will be given, or we can say provided, through Parva portal. Now this Parva portal was introduced in 2024. The agenda of this was to receive application and approve the same applications through digitalized form. So basically we are reducing the paperwork here. Now the deadline of such application is to be June 15, 2025. Again, a very important information. Then SROAA will oversee regulatory compliance, while technical specification will be managed by the REBIT. Okay, so the SRO, that is the self-regulatory organization of account aggregator, will look at the compliance portion only, whether they are complying with the rules and regulations of the RBI. Okay, now the technical specification will be seen by the REBIT. Now what this REBIT? Now this REBIT is the one who takes care of the cyber security. And cybersecurity is a very technical thing, and that is the reason it will be looked by REBIT, which is a part of RBI. Before rejecting an application, the RBI will provide the applicant 15 days to address such deficiency and submit the correction. So they will be provided, they will, even if so whatever RBI thinks that whether the application was correct or incorrect, in case it was correct, it will be given with the letter of recognition. In case it is a false application, in case the application is not complete in nature, they will be given, the entity will be given 15 days in order to recover such deficiencies in their application. Then RBI reserves the right to deny the recognition at any time. So whenever RBI thinks that the entity is no longer serving the purpose of SRO, they have that power, the RBI has that power to deny such recognition at any point of time. Now these are the guidelines that states the characteristics of the SRO. Now the first is to represent it at a fair and justice. Okay, so whatever they are representing, the SRO, whatever the representation they are representing to the ecosystem, that should be fair. That means all such entities or all such components must be a part of such ecosystem. It doesn't mean that SRO is just contributing, or we can say including the users of financial information. No, they also have to involve or include information providers as well in order to justify their position as a SRO. Then they also have to set the rules and monitor the compliance. They can also suggest or set some rules for the AAA, and they will ensure compliance for the same. Promote awareness and the training. The SRO will also provide the training and the awareness campaigns for the users and for the entities as well, so that they can get to know what all this area look after and how you can secure your data, whatever you are dealing with. Then the fourth characteristics of the SRO says that you have to stay neutral. Whenever you are making a decision, whenever you are taking a decision related to an entity or related to the ecosystem, you have to be neutral. You have to be unbiased in order to ensure that whatever decision that you are making is independent in nature and is unbiased. Then resolve the disputes. Now what kind of disputes could be there? It could be related to the users, it could be related to the entities that are involved in the AA ecosystem, and whatever dispute would be there, that would be resolved by the SRO from now onwards. Then there is rules related to eligibility criteria. Now this is very important. This can be asked in your phase 1 and phase 2. So who can be SRO? SRO can be a non-profit organization which is registered under Section 8 of the Companies Act. Now what this Section 8 shows? It shows the companies that are registered as a non-profit organization. Then what should be the minimum net worth of such companies? It should be 2 crore. Very important information. Within 1 year of the recognition. Within 1 year of the recognition, they must have a minimum net worth of 2 crore rupees. Then no single entity should hold more than 10% of the share capital. That means they are avoiding concentration of one single company. Concentration of one single company in SRO. So that there is not one single company that is holding more shares, more than 10% of shares of such SRO. Okay. Then must have a capability to set up a IT infrastructure and support the AA system. So basically they should have all the technology in hand. They should have all the expertise in hand in order to deal with such ecosystem in a better capability. Then they must be of a good reputation and should be a part of financial market. Now this is very conceptual in nature, but these are factual in nature. These must be learned by you, or we can say remembered by you for the exam purpose. Then there is some guidelines related to membership of the SRO. Now what are the members? Members are the participants of the ecosystem. Participants. Now who all are the participants, these are NBFC AA FIPs, that is the information providers and the users. Okay, now they can be a part of, or we can say they can be a member of such SROs. Okay, now they can hold such membership which is voluntary in nature. However, NBFC will be encouraged to join such SRO. Now, joining such SRO by these participants is very important. Otherwise, they won't be able to see whether the entities are complying with the regulations or not, or what kind of problems that they are facing. Okay, so there is a need to have a good number of partnership or good number of membership of these participants with the SROs. So there is one regulation which says that to ensure the fair representation of such SRO, they must have at least 25 members from each, that is from the information providers and as well from the users as well, at all time. So throughout the time period wherein they are serving as a SRO-AA in such ecosystem, they must have at least 25 members from the information providers and from the information users as well. Okay, so membership is very important here. REs, that is the regulated entities from all regulators, whether they are related to SEBI, whether they are related to IRDAI, whether they are related to RBI, can also become a member of such SRO. Then SRO can charge different fees based on the size. Now SRO is the one who is looking after such entities, whether they are complying with the rules or not, what else do they need, what kind of technology they need, what kind of suggestion they need in order to survive in such ecosystem. All such things will also be done by the SRO. For that they will charge some fees based on the size of such entity they are looking after, the size of the company they are monitoring. That is the reason they are saying that the fees will be charged based on the size and capacity of the organization they are looking after. Then members must sign the agreement with the SRO-AA to enforce the compliance and the standards. Now members are going to be a part of such SRO. Now they have to sign an agreement with the SRO that yes, we are giving you such a right to look after us, to monitor us, to check whether we are complying with the issue, complying with the rules or regulations that are being laid down by the various regulatory bodies or not. Then governance and management of the SRO. Now this SRO must be independent in nature. We want them to make all decision in unbiased manner, in independent manner, and that is the reason RBI has set down some rules related to governance and the management of such organization as well. So basically they have set two rules related to AOA, that is Article of Association, and the Board of Directors. Now what is Article of Association? Article of Association is a document that represents the organizational structure, that represents the roles and responsibilities of various key stakeholders, that what kind of roles that they are going to play in such organizations. Now all such rules must be set well in advance in such AOA document by such SRO, so that they are not keep on changing their roles and responsibility of the key stakeholders in that given organization. If we talk about the board of directors, now board of directors are the one who takes the decision related to the organization. So that is the reason they are saying that board of directors should have a transparent policy of making decisions. That means on what basis they are making such decisions. Okay, what is their criteria of making such decisions? All such rules and policies must be written well in advance in clear form to the regulator before applying for the application. So any major changes that are happening in the board, they have to be informed to the RBI. Also, if there is any kind of director that is involved in any kind of fraud, if they are involved in any kind of wrongdoing, they have to be reported to the RBI in all such cases. Then SRO should be knowledgeable. SRO-AA should have knowledgeable staffs. Obviously, they are going to look after the account aggregators. In order to regulate them, in order to monitor them, we need to have expertise staff, or we can say knowledgeable staff, so that they can look after such organization. If they are not able to understand what kind of work they are doing, what kind of ecosystem is there, what kind of functions that are being done by the account aggregator, they won't be able to understand, or we can say monitor such participants. Ensure all members follow the law and guidelines set by the RBI and the other regulators. So this is very obvious in nature. And then the governance structure should ensure that all the participants in the AA system have an equal voice and treated fairly. So basically there are going to be a number of members in the SRO, and SRO have to ensure that each and every member are being given equal chances to present their cases, to present their issues to the SRO, so that they are ensuring that equitable voice or equitable presentation is being given by each and every entity in the SRO membership. Then there is some rules related to directors. Now, who can be directors? Directors should not be involved in any kind of legal dispute. That means there should be no ongoing case on that director. They should be of good reputation and have such professional competence in order to participate in such board of director. Also, they have to be fit and proper in terms of RBI's eyes. So basically, RBI has set a fit and proper criteria for the director to be a director of SRO. Now we don't have to go this much deep in the regulations. This much is enough for your examination for here. Okay. Then there are some guidelines related to board of SRO. Now we are talking about the board, the composition of such board. We are going to look after the composition of such board. So at least one third of the board members should be independent along with the chairperson. Then have a representation from all the components of the ecosystem, that is information providers, the users, in order to ensure that there is diverse expertise in the board. Then include at least one director with the regulatory experience in the banking and financial services. So they are ensuring that all experts from all region and fields are being included in such board of SRO. अभी आपको याद नहीं रखना है, you don't have to remember such things. This is very understanding in nature. ठीक है, तो ये आपको समझाया जा रहा है so that आप जब इसे पढ़े तो आपको याद हो जाए. ठीक है, आपको इसे याद नहीं करना पड़ेगा. Review and update the industry norms. Now this board will look after the norms and they will try to update it on a regular basis. Establish the consequences of non-compliance in case there are some entities who are not complying with the rules and regulation. They will tell them the consequences of such non-compliance. Then conduct training programs for the industry professionals and for the users as well. Educate the customers about their right. They also have to aware customers regarding their data security, how you can ensure your data security, and all such rights would be taught to customers by such SRO. Now there is more guidelines related to board of such SRO. Now such board will also establish a mechanism for the grievance redressal. So whatever dispute would be there would be a standardized mechanism in order to deal with such dispute. Now this dispute can be related to the participant or customers. Both kind of redressal would be there. Deploy digital dashboard metrics. Now this board will also set metrics, or we can say a digital dashboard, to look after AA, that how much information is being exchanged on a daily basis. Maintain a repository participant record. So whosoever is going to be a part of such information, this SRO is going to record all such information with themselves as well, along with this AA. Provide necessary service and infrastructure to the ecosystem. So if they believe that this kind of technology should be there, this kind of IT system should be there in order to make this AA system more efficient and better, so they will provide such infrastructure as well. Submit the regular reports on the data to the RBI for the sector monitoring. This is very easy. Let's move ahead with another guidelines. Now SRO will also set up the committees. Okay, now committees will be based on key areas such as compliance, dispute resolution and fraud prevention. तो हर एक की एरिया के लिए अलग से एक कमेटी बनाई जाएगी एंड दे विल हैव अ इंडिपेंडेंट चेयरपर्सन. हर एक कमेटी का देयर वुड बी इंडिपेंडेंट चेयरपर्सन फॉर ईच एंड एवरी कमेटी. Now there are some broaden, we can say, guidelines for a SRO. So first one is provide the RBI with a timely update. They have to share reports on the trends, on the annual reports of the ecosystem to the financial regulator. This can be RBI, this can be SEBI, this can be IRDAI, whatever would be the case. The information provided to the RBI must be true in nature. In case it is misleading in nature, they can revoke the recognition of such SRO at any time. They must not engage in any other activity. That means their sole purpose of this self-regulatory organization would be to check and monitor such ecosystem and not any other activity. The SRO-AA operation are aligned with the interest of the financial ecosystem. There should be not any personal interest of such organization to be a SRO. So it should be for the interest of the ecosystem. So here we are done with the SRO guidelines. ठीक है, अभी तक कोई डाउट तो नहीं है SRO गाइडलाइंस में? इन केस यू हैव, आई कैन टेक इट इन बिटवीन द सेशन. ठीक है. Now here we are with the second news which says now there is a second news which says that RBI wins the Digital Transformation Award. ठीक है. Now the RBI has received this award named as Digital Transformation Award. Now this has been given by the Central Banking of London, UK. So basically this is an organization that look after, or we can say that keeps on looking at the central banks of various countries. Okay, so they have recognized RBI with such, we can say, award for the year of 2025. Again factual है, इट इज फैक्चुअल इन नेचर. अब अवार्ड का नाम पूछा जा सकता है और किसने दिया है अवार्ड ये भी पूछा जा सकता है. ओके, अब ये बहुत फैक्चुअल है एंड सिंपल है. एंड द अदर थिंग विच सेज दैट ये अवार्ड उन्हें क्यों मिला है? बेस्ड ऑन द टू इनिशिएटिव दैट आर बीइंग इंट्रोड्यूस्ड बाय द आरबीआई. नाउ आरबीआई ने परवाह निकाला था, पोर्टल, एंड देन सारथी. नाउ दीज टू इनिशिएटिव्स they consider as a major, we can say, initiative that has been developed by the RBI in their in-house IT team, and which is very good for the RBI and for the, we can say, financial market and the financial ecosystem of the India as well. And that is the reason these two are the main initiative based on which they have, we can say, recognized RBI for such award. ठीक है, बहुत सिंपल है. यहाँ तक दो फैक्चुअल, तीन फैक्चुअल हमें चीजें पता चली हैं कि दो इनिशिएटिव हैं यहाँ पर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, परवाह एंड सारथी, जिसके बेसिस पर आरबीआई को ये अवार्ड मिला है. ठीक है, अवार्ड का नाम है डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन अवार्ड 2025 एंड इट इज बीइंग गिवन बाय सेंट्रल बैंकिंग लंदन, यूके. नाउ वी विल रीड अबाउट द परवाह पोर्टल एंड देन द सारथी पोर्टल. After this we are done with this news. Okay, so the परवाह पोर्टल क्या है? परवाह पोर्टल was introduced in May 2024. अभी हमने अपनी पिछली स्लाइड्स में भी पढ़ा था. तो बेसिकली ये करता क्या है? एप्लीकेशंस जो रिसीव होती हैं that were used to happen through paperwork. So there were a lot of paperwork involved whenever there is a application. ठीक है, आपको application देनी है, आपको approval चाहिए from the side of the RBI, तो वो बहुत ही लंबी प्रोसेस होती थी. अब ये अप्रूवल जो है, ये जो एप्लीकेशन, that is not for a single, we can say, area. There are 60 areas that they are covering here with this portal, and that is the reason with this digitalized portal, all such entities that they want to apply for certain kind of area, certain kind of approval, they can do such thing through this परवाह portal. So there is one portal जहां पर कोई भी entities अपने licensing के लिए, अपने approval के लिए, किसी भी चीज के लिए application भेज सकती है to the RBI, and they can also track the same on the same portal, which is easy for the RBI as well and easy for the participant, or we can say the entities of the financial system as well. Okay, so it is a secure and centralized web-based portal. Now this platform is for the regulated entities like banks and NBFCs and payment companies. They submit their application for various kind of approvals and licenses from the RBI. This includes 60 different application types pertaining to various regulatory and supervisory departments. This is beneficial for the ecosystem, for the financial ecosystem, and for the RBI as well, because the process is now faster. It reduces the paperwork. It is tracking the application of the entities in a real time. And that is the reason it is good for the financial ecosystem. Now the second one is Sarthi. Now Sarthi was launched in 2023. Its main function was to manage the internal work for the RBI employees. Now RBI के जो employees होते हैं, what they do, they share various kind of information among themselves. Okay. Now उस information को secure करने के लिए, authenticate करने के लिए एक standardized platform चाहिए था through which they can share such information, share such data. एंड उसके लिए आरबीआई ने क्या निकाला था, सारथी निकाला था, दैट कैन बी यूज्ड बाय द आरबीआई's एम्प्लॉयज. दिस इज फॉर द इंटरनल यूज ऑफ द आरबीआई. ठीक है, इंटरनल प्रोसेसेस के लिए है ये आरबीआई के. सो दिस इज also a good, we can say, initiative that is being introduced by the RBI for their employees. Now this will improve the record management. There would be a better record management, better data analysis, and the report and the dashboard, and makes the internal operation faster and more efficient. Okay. Now here we are with the third news, which says credit disbursement to PSL. Now PSL क्या होता है? Priority sector lending. अब ये जो priority sectors होते हैं, now these priority sectors are the one जिन्हें हमें prioritize करना है from other sectors. Now what are these sectors? These sectors include agriculture, education, MSMEs. ठीक है, ऐसे बहुत तरह के sectors होते हैं जिन्हें banks need to give priority over any other sectors, because these sectors are very important for the economy as a whole. They are the one, they can drive the growth of the economy, and that is the reason they are being prioritized over other sectors. Now these sectors are witnessing that there is an increased credit availability to them, especially if we talk about the agriculture and MSME. Now they have witnessed a 85% of increase from 2019 to 2024. In 2019 there was 20 lakh crore of credit loan, or we can say the loan that was dispersed to these areas. Now in 2024 they have almost double, that is 42.7 lakh crore rupees has been dispersed by the banks to these priority sectors, which is a good point for the economy and for these priority sectors as well. अब ये जो priority sectors होते हैं, इनके लिए बैंक्स को स्टेबल होना बहुत जरूरी है. बैंक्स ही अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं करेंगे तो व्हाई वुड दे गिव सच लोन टू पीएसएल, बिकॉज वहां से तो ज्यादा रेवेन्यू भी नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि दीज आर वेरी रिस्की रेवेन्यूज. ठीक है, एजुकेशन लोन्स, एमएसएमईज बहुत रिस्की होते हैं. एग्रीकल्चर अपने आप में बहुत रिस्की है, क्योंकि वो क्लाइमेट से बहुत जल्दी इंपैक्ट होता है. एंड दैट इज द रीजन बैंक्स जो है अवॉइड करते हैं टू गिविंग सच लोन टू प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर्स. वो कोशिश करते हैं जहां से ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट आए, जहां से ज्यादा रिटर्न आए, जहां से इजीली रिकवरी हो जाए मनी की, वो उन सेक्टर्स पे ज्यादा लोन देते हैं. एंड दैट इज द रीजन बैंक्स का स्टेबल होना, बैंक्स का प्रॉफिटेबल होना बहुत जरूरी है इन ऑर्डर टू अचीव सच थिंग. तो इससे हमें एक और साइन भी पता लगता है दैट बैंक्स आर बिकमिंग मोर एंड मोर स्टेबल. दैट इज द रीजन वी आर विटनेसिंग दैट पीपल और बैंक्स आर गिविंग मोर एंड मोर लोन्स टू सच प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर्स. एंड हियर इज द डेटा फॉर द एग्रीकल्चर एंड द एमएसएमई एज वेल. अगर हम एमएसएमई की बात करें, सो इट वॉज 10 lakh crore something, and it has been reached to 21.73 lakh crore. And if we talk about the agriculture sector, it has reached from 2019 8.86 lakh crore to 18.27 lakh crore, which is again good point. You can highlight such data, or it can be asked in your examination, whatever could be the case. Now how such thing has been achieved by the we can say banks. So the first thing is bank stability, we have already discussed. Now the second thing is government and RBI initiative to boost the financial inclusion. Now what kind of initiatives has been introduced by the RBI? Now these are ULI, UPI. Now these are the initiatives that have boosted what? Financial inclusion. If we talk about the government initiatives like Jan Dhan Yojana, All such initiatives are boosting what? Financial inclusion. And that is the reason we are seeing that more and more priority sectors are being lended with such credit. The second is AI driven credit assessment. Earlier, the credit assessment has been done by the banks manually. Now, with the use of artificial intelligence, now such data can be processed easily and fastly, and that is the reason they are being dispersed with credit easily and fastly. eKYC, earlier the KYC was done physically by going to the bank branches. Now with such KYC, eKYC, such KYC has been done in a faster process and in a easy process in order to make the loan processing or loan dispersal more and more faster. Banks adopted data driven approaches to analyze customer transactions. Okay, now then improved credit discipline like stricter regulations and monitor help the reduce the bad loans. तो basically हो क्या रहा है, banks क्या कर रहे हैं, अच्छे rules निकाल रहे हैं for the loans so that जो credit discipline है among the users, among the borrowers can be increased. ठीक है, उनके इस तरह के रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस की वजह से वी कैन सी उनकी रिकवरी अच्छी हो रही है एंड पीपल आर मोर क्रेडिट डिसिप्लिन्ड नाउ एंड दैट इज द रीजन दैट हैज इंप्रूव्ड द बैंक्स स्टेबिलिटी. Now what has been measures has been introduced by the government or by the RBI that has strengthened the banking sector. अब ये आप अपने डिस्क्रिप्टिव में भी यूज कर सकते हैं इंफॉर्मेशन, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ठीक है, कौन कौन सी ऐसी चीजें हैं जिन्होंने हेल्प किया है बैंकिंग सेक्टर को और भी ज्यादा स्ट्रेंथन करने में. तो द फर्स्ट इज PSBs हैव सेटेड अ डेडिकेटेड टीम्स एंड ब्रांचेस टू रिकवर द बैड लोन्स. तो बेसिकली यहाँ पर हो क्या रहा है, PSBs ने बिजनेस कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट्स एंड लीड बैंक्स इंट्रोड्यूस करे हैं अपने अपने रीजनल एरियाज में जहां से वो जल्दी से जल्दी रिकवर कर सके अपने बैड लोन से. तो जितना जल्दी बैड लोन रिकवर होगा उतनी अच्छी उनकी क्या होगी, बैलेंस शीट होगी, उतनी अच्छी उनकी बैलेंस शीट दिखेगी. एंड दैट इज द रीजन PSBs की अगर हम बात करें दैट वाई दे आर इंप्रूविंग देयर वी कैन से परफॉर्मेंस ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. नाउ द सेकेंड इज IBC ने बहुत हेल्प किया है बैंक्स को टू रिकवर देयर लोन्स. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पर क्या हो सकता है, उनको लोन रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग में हेल्प किया है और जितने भी उनके डिफॉल्टर्स होंगे, उनके जितने भी एसेट्स होंगे उनको बेचने में और जितना फंड्स उसमें से आया होगा दैट कैन बी वी कैन से हेल्प्ड बैंक्स थ्रू द IBC. ठीक है, IBC से जो उनको हेल्प मिली है वो कुछ इस तरह से थी. देन देयर इज सेंट्रल रिपोजिटरी ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन लार्ज क्रेडिट. तो बेसिकली इट हैड हेल्प बैंक्स टू ट्रैक द हाई वैल्यू लोन अकाउंट फॉर अर्ली फ्रॉड डिटेक्शन. तो बेसिकली ये इस तरह की इंफॉर्मेशन है दैट इज रिलेटेड टू द बोरोवर्स, जिसमें आप क्या कर सकते हैं, अर्ली डिटेक्शन कर सकते हैं ऑफ द फ्रॉड बेस्ड ऑन द ट्रांजैक्शन, विच इज अगेन गुड फॉर द बैंक्स. सारफेसी एक्ट हम सबको पता है दैट दे हेल्प अस इन रिकवरिंग द मनी from selling assets of the borrower. ठीक है, of the borrower. तो यहां पर एसेट्स बेचकर बोरोवर की क्या किया जाता है, रिकवर किया जाता है फंड्स को फॉर द बैंक्स, again which is very good for the bank's performance. RBI conduct periodic review to check whether the banks are complying with the lending regulations. So RBI is also looking after these banks in order to ensure compliance. RBI focuses more on the high risk sectors and institutions. So whatever sectors or we can say institutions which are very risky in nature, the RBI is putting more and more regulations in such we can say sectors. You can also give one example for the risk weight that was increased in the personal loans. ठीक है, तो personal loans में risk weight increase कर दिए गए थे because there was a lot of concentration by banks in these loans, and that is the reason we can say RBI is focusing more on the high risk sectors. 7. Banks must set aside the funds to recover the potential loan defaults. So basically RBI also said them to set aside more and more buffers with yourself in order to comply with the rules and regulation, also to deal with the stress situation. In case there is some kind of stress in the ecosystem or in the economy, then such banks can survive in such stress scenario. Automated early warning systems, again they are talking about the AI which helped banks to detect early warning early warnings regarding the frauds. Then there is one ease framework that was for the PSBs so that they can improve their funding, their recovering of loans. So basically there were we can say number of reforms 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 regarding this ease. These are solely related to the PSBs and for their improvement in the Indian banking system. So here we are done with the last news. Okay, this is the last news which is related to MSME credit growth and NPA reduction in the India. Now this news says that MSME credit growth has increased. Also the NPAs, that is the bad loans, have also reduced. The bad loans has also reduced. So here we are with the win-win situation. There is a win-win situation wherein the bad loans is also reducing and the credit gap to such MSME is also increasing, which is a good point. It is over the past 5 years data that we are going to discuss. There has been a significant increase in the credit availability to the MSMEs and bad loans is also seeing a reduction. Here is the data that discusses for last 4 years. It says that the MSMEs that are getting advances in 2020, there was something around 16 lakhs of credit that were given to the MSMEs by banks. Now there are some in 2024. Now these MSMEs loan disbursement has been reached to 28 lakh something. If we talk about the gross NPA, the gross NPA has also reduced from 11% to 4%, which is again a good number for the banks. Now, what are the reasons behind this? So there are several reasons. If you talk about the regulatory framework, अब बैंक्स के लिए क्या निकाला गया था? रेगुलेटरी फ्रेमवर्क निकाला गया था wherein they were asked to compromise on the settlement and technical write off किया जाए. अब कॉम्प्रोमाइज किया जा रहा था सेटलमेंट के ऊपर. दैट मीन्स आपको अगर फुल रिपेमेंट नहीं हो रही है लोन की, सो यू कैन कॉम्प्रोमाइज ऑन द सेटलमेंट. दैट मीन्स यू कैन गिवन सम स्मॉल और वी कैन से जितना रिकवर हो सकता है अमाउंट आप उतना रिकवर कर लीजिए rather than looking for a full amount. Asset reconstruction companies are buying the bad loans and they are also helping banks to clean up their balance sheet. If we talk about the framework for revival and rehabilitation of the MSMEs, तो ये जो framework था वो MSMEs के लिए निकाला गया था in order to restructure them. तो कुछ ऐसी MSMEs जो अच्छी तरह से अपने बिजनेस को चला नहीं पा रही थी, उनको स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस लाकर उनकी इंप्रूवमेंट की गई so that they can give their loan back. Improving the loan recovering and supervision. तो यहाँ पर आरबीआई की जो सुपरविजन है वो भी इंक्रीज कर दी गई है और जो बैंक्स हैं वो भी लोन रिकवरी जो है बहुत अच्छे से कर रहे हैं थ्रू वेरियस सोर्सेज, जैसे कि एआरसीज में हमने देखा. देन इंसॉल्वेंसीज एंड स्ट्रेस एसेट रिजोल्यूशन. तो द बैंक्स आर गोइंग फॉर द एंटिटीज दैट आर नॉट एबल टू पे देयर अमाउंट, दे आर गोइंग टू आईपीसी. ठीक है, अब आईपीसी क्या करता है? दे रिकवर देयर लोन. ठीक है, रिकवर देयर लोन बाय सेलिंग देयर एसेट्स इन द मार्केट. सो वहां से जितनी रिकवरी होती है वो सब फंड्स किसको दिए जाते हैं? बैक टू द बैंक्स, सो दैट दे कैन गेट सम ऑफ देयर अमाउंट बैक फ्रॉम द लोन. अगर हम कोविड-19 रिलीफ मेजर्स की बात करें, वेरिन कोविड-19 में कुछ ऐसी एंटिटीज थी जो रिकवर अपने लोन नहीं पे कर पा रही थी, तो उनको रिकवरी करने के लिए दे हैव इंट्रोड्यूस सम मेजर्स, जैसे कि लोन मोराटोरियम. दैट मीन्स आप उनको थोड़ा सा टाइम दे रहे हैं, एक डेफर पीरियड दे रहे हैं टू पे बैक देयर लोन. ठीक है, आपको इंस्टेंटली अभी पे नहीं करना, कोई बात नहीं, यू कैन मिस योर ईएमआईज. ठीक है, एंड यू आफ्टर दैट यू कैन स्टार्ट पेइंग योर लोन on a regular basis once you feel like that you are able to pay such loan back to the bank. Recalculation and drawing papers. तो basically इसमें आपको credit provide करवाया जा रहा है to the MSMEs on their working capital. Then resolution framework, जहां पर MSME को again रीस्ट्रक्चर किया जा रहा है इन ऑर्डर टू रिवाइव फ्रॉम सच स्ट्रेस सिनेरियो ऑफ कोविड-19. यूनियन बजट की अगर हम बात करें उसमें भी बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव्स आए हैं, उसमें से एक है क्रेडिट स्कीम फॉर द एमएसएमई। यहाँ पर इन्होंने लिमिट इंक्रीज कर दी है, विच इज अगेन अ गुड पॉइंट, और वी कैन से अ पॉइंट दैट इज स्ट्रेंथनिंग द क्रेडिट डिस्पर्सलमेंट टू द एमएसएमईज। ठीक है, now we are done with the news. Let's have a look on the question session as well. So RBI introduced SROs AA framework to oversee and streamline the account aggregator ecosystem in India. The framework lays out the eligibility criteria, governance structure, and the responsibilities of SROA. RBI has invited application for the recognition of such SROA through the dash. While the SROA will oversee the regulator compliance, technical specification and implementation will be managed by which organization? The deadline for the application is submission is dash. Right. B is the right answer, जहां पर परवाह पोर्टल के थ्रू एप्लीकेशंस आएंगी. Rabbit will take care of the technical things, and June 15 is the last date. As per the RBI guideline, what is the minimum net worth requirement for the SRO? And no organization should hold how much of the share capital of the SRO? So what is the right answer for the second one? Right, B is the right answer. Question number 3, credit disbursement to priority sectors like agriculture, MSME and social infrastructure has grown significantly from 2019 to 2024. So what percentage did total credit disbursement to priority sector increase? Yes, 85% is the right answer. Good, everyone. Okay, so the RBI has been awarded with the Digital Transformation Award 2025 by the Central Banking London UK. And what were the two initiatives जिनके लिए उनको award दिया गया है? Right, Parwa and Sarthi is the right answer here. Question number 5, the decline in the NPA in the MSME sector is positive indicator of the improving financial health. So which of the statement here it is correct? So the gross MSME NPA reduced from 1.87 lakh to 1.25 lakh crore. The NPA ratio in the MSME loan increased from 11% to 15%. The asset reconstruction were allowed to acquire loans where frauds were detected to clean up the balance sheet. This is wrong. The first and the third statement is correct. Okay, तो यहाँ पर option ही नहीं है. Let's change this one. First and third option is correct. Okay. Okay. Okay, there was no option. Okay, four statement ही नहीं है यहाँ पर. So I've told you the right answer in this case. ठीक है? Okay. चलिए, there is something wrong with this question, I think. Let's have a look. Okay, incorrect पूछा है तो in this case this NPA वाली thing would be incorrect. ठीक है? अगर correct पूछा है then 1 and 3 option is correct. अगर incorrect पूछा है then statement number 2 is incorrect. ठीक है? Resolve. In case you have any doubt, you can ask me here. Yes, there can be multiple SROs. Yes, I can take the IndusLand Bank wala topic in the session. ठीक है? So I hope the session was fruitful for you. Best of luck for your examination. Prepare well with the current affairs. These are going to be very important for your exam point of view. Till then, bye-bye. We will meet again in the next session. Okay? Bye-bye.